war is it anyway? This question has cropped up several times since the beginning of the war on terror. The previous administration was repeatedly criticized for protecting US interests in Pakistan, each time it acted against militant outfits holed up in the restive tribal belt of the country. Now these groups have spread their tentacles across the settled areas of the NWFP and have posed a significant threat to the coalition troops deployed in Afghanistan. Last month, President Hamid Karzai threatened to send troops into Pakistan.
Afghanistan has the right of self-defense. When they cross the territory from Pakistan to come and kill Afghans and to kill coalition troops, it exactly gives us the right to go back and do the same. Therefore, Baitullah Masood should know that we will go after him now and hit him in his house. Fazlullah should know the same, that we will go after him and hit him in his house. And he's in his bases. And the other fellow, Mullah Omar of Pakistan, should know the same. This is a two-way road in this case. And Afghans are good in the two-way road journey. We will complete this journey and we will get them and we will defeat them and we will avenge all that they have done in Afghanistan for the past so many years.
Islamabad condemned the statement, but later in the month, the Prime Minister called an emergency meeting describing religious extremism as a threat to the country's security. An official handout released after the meeting claimed that Pakistan will not allow its territory to be used against other countries, especially Afghanistan, and under no circumstances will foreign troops be allowed to operate inside Pakistan. The government said the main thrust of its policy would be the political engagement of the people through their elected representatives and tribal elders, though it did not rule out selective use of military force against militant groups.
This is our own fight. This is our own cause. Because I have lost my own leader because of terrorism. So isliye my priority number one is to maintain law and order in the country, and I want that the rest of the state should not be challenged.
But while the Pakistan People's Party was trying to take the ownership of the war, one of its coalition partners was not ready to shoulder the responsibility. The Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz condemned the operation in Khyber Agency, even though it was executed on a limited scale to secure Peshawar from radical groups and clear the way for the NATO logistical supplies. Chaudhry Nisar Ali Khan described the offensive as the military invasion against Pakistan's own people. It was clear that the ruling coalition was sharply divided over the counter-terrorism strategy. The PPP was between the rock and the hard place. The PMLN criticized it for being trigger-happy, and the US administration thought that peace deals were helping militants launch attacks against the coalition forces in Afghanistan. PPP's best bet was to bring other coalition partners on board and devise a counter-terrorism strategy with greater consensus. Maulana Fazlur Rahman told media after the meeting on 23rd July that the government should pursue dialogue to achieve peace in the tribal areas.
मुल्क के अंदर जो है जो भी मामलात हों, खारजा पॉलिसी हो या अमन अमान की सूरत हाल हो, उसको पार्लियामेंट में ज़ेर बहस लाया जाए और पूरे पार्लियामेंट के फ़ैसलों के नतीजे में हमें अपनी पॉलिसियों पर नज़रसानी करनी होगी और ज़रूरी करार दिया गया कि जो मुज़ाकरात हो रहे हैं ये बेहतर अमल है, ये हमारे मुल्क की दाखिली ज़रूरत है और इसको आगे बढ़ाया जाए। मुआहिदात जो हैं वो उस पर अमल दरामद को भी यकीनी बनाने की कोशिश की जाए।
Information Minister Sherry Rahman was more prudent. She simply read out a statement to journalists who had converged on the PM House in Islamabad.
There was a clear consensus that the situation warrants the evolution of long-term policies across the board with the support of all political partners. It was noted that Pakistan's national security and internal stability is paramount and that no one will be allowed to challenge the writ of the state.
But even after the meeting, several questions remained unanswered. Should the issue of religious militancy be thrashed out in Parliament? The country's political elite is more concerned with the recent deployment of coalition forces across the Pak-Afghan border. Many politicians are not ready to acknowledge that these militant groups pose a mortal threat to the state and are doing their best to take charge of Pakistan's foreign policy. Besides, as the history of this conflict shows, it is easy to reach peace agreements, but quite difficult to make them work. How will the government enforce its peace deals with radical groups? How will it drive out foreign militants without the use of force? How will it keep the local Taliban from launching cross-border attacks in Afghanistan? It is not clear how the political administration of the country will achieve its objectives through negotiations. Recently, it asked the army to deal with the deteriorating situation in FATA, but the armed forces expect political parties to take the ownership of the war. The military faced public revulsion after it acted against the Lal Masjid administration in Islamabad, while the ruling Pakistan Muslim League conveniently distanced itself from the operation. The army will not be able to fight this battle without effective political leadership, and abandoning the combat zone is not an option since the United Nations resolutions require the country to stop local Taliban from foraying into Afghanistan.